do you feel that if we inch, because I've heard people say we probably will never reach herd immunity, but if we're inching closer to more of the population being vaccinated, do you feel like that will minimize our potential exposure and or the huge threats of being exposed to another variant? Do you think that the getting the vaccine and inching towards the herd immunity will then help us all?
Yes. Absolutely yes. If you want to go back to living what we consider a normal life as a community, the biggest possible number of us vaccinated is what makes that happen. I think it's important to say what herd immunity is. It is not eradication. There is only one human disease that has in fact been eradicated ever on the world, and that is smallpox, and good on us, because that one really deserved to go.
I did not know that.
Yeah, only one. But what herd immunity really means is that enough people are vaccinated so that it's very hard for the disease to spread, and that the people who are not vaccinated also are at far, far lower risk. So you think of a herd like a herd of buffalo with wolves around them, and the big, strong buffalo are on the outside protecting the little babies in the middle who would be oh so delicious for the wolves. The herd as a whole has immunity from being eaten because the strong ones are there. The ones whose immunity can ward off the enemy are there. And that's the idea with herd immunity. If we get high enough rates of vaccination, our community becomes a stable, protected herd. It needs to be higher because of the more transmissible variants. The lower the transmissibility of a disease, the easier it is to get enough people vaccinated. And, 60% vaccinated will basically stop the disease pretty much in its tracks in that community. Mm-hmm. But this one now, they're talking 90%, whatever. The reason they are now saying that true herd immunity is really not in the cards is partly because of variants and because it is you can do the math that we will not have universal vaccination. You can do the math. Even the 5% alone that the vaccine doesn't cover, then you add to that the people who are medically not advised and cannot tolerate the vaccine. That brings another percentage up. Then you get the people who are adamant, who will not be vaccinated in any way, shape, or form.
Reasons.
Just will not, none.
Yeah.
That's another percentage. I am hoping that the people who said, you know what, this vaccine was developed too quickly, it's brand new, I'm not comfortable, I don't want to jump into the deep end of the swimming pool. And they wanted to see, they said, well, let's see how it works. Let's see what happens. But by now we've seen what happens with the millions who have been vaccinated, and it is absolutely, as safe as any other vaccine, and probably safer than many, and very helpful for, and no comparison is it safer than getting COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That's always
right. The flip side of the coin is far worse.
Yes.
Death.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's not what we want. And I really appreciate this clarification, because I think a lot of people are a little bit trepidatious about receiving the vaccine. If you're an older person with immune compromised situation or things like that. But what we're doing with this particular podcast is to encourage people to please go get the vaccine, for you and for me. I have never even gotten the flu vaccine. I've never gotten a flu shot. But I definitely went and got the vaccine for this, because it's important that we not become, these invisible carriers everywhere we go, and then hurting branches of family members. So So I think that it's ups and downs, but this type of isolation has really played to our benefit, and we want to encourage everyone to go out and please get the vaccine, and do whatever you can to do it. And I'm pretty sure folks out there, as Marina said, there's going to be some places up island where you can get it, some places in between you can get it, and so you don't have to go off island. I've been really encouraged by continuing to see the long lines at the high school, which to me sounds like folks that are arriving on the Vineyard are doing the right thing, and getting tested before they submerge themselves into this small community. So we want to say thank you for that to folks who are really thinking about the long-term effects of being able to visit this amazing place.
We can have long arguments, which we will not, about pharmaceutical companies and their role in the world and everything else. But when it comes down to it, we are dependent on those. We cannot create immunity by ourselves without getting sick. And like I said, that implies lots and lots of deaths. We have only had so far 1,475 cases on the island. Our population is a whole lot bigger than that.
Yeah.
And if we had the expected 20 deaths from that, and you extrapolate out, we don't want this disease, is what I'm trying to say. We do not want this disease.
And we're such a close-knit community. Those 20 people, we literally would have known all of those 20 people.
Yes.
So it's not some faraway, concept. It's right here in our backyard. So gracious to come here and give us this interview and make it clear that we all have the motivation that we need to go and get this vaccine. Sure, there are variants out there, but the vaccine will help to curb any further damage or any further threat coming towards us. So I can only implore everyone out there, please go get your vaccine if possible. And you can go to the website. You can go to the Martha's Vineyard Hospital website, as well as, like you said, Islanders Talk on Facebook, in order to find out more information, or you can contact the Board of Health of your community. And I want to thank you again, Marina, so much.
It's been wonderful talking to you.
I
could talk for a long time, so.
And I could listen.
Okay.
And we'll see you next time.
You've just watched the third and last part of the interview COVID-19 variants and vaccines on the Mvtv podcast 7.5 Minutes. Você acabou de assistir a terceira e última parte da entrevista sobre COVID-19 variantes e vacina. Thank you for coming together and learn. Obrigado. See you next podcast.